So I want to talk today about the benefits of breathing. And it sounds really simple, and that's because it is, but it's something that we take for granted. You know, we're born and we breathe to the day we die, really, without much thought. But, there are certain instances where we struggle with breath, or there are times where it doesn't come so easily, and we have to really think about it. So something that happened to me in my 20s was I had my first panic attack, and I didn't know what was happening. I'd never heard of panic attacks before. This was before it was really mainstream in terms of awareness. And I remember I was on the tube and one side of my body went completely numb and I couldn't breathe, I couldn't see, I had tunnel vision. And I honestly thought I was having a stroke at 20. I just thought, what's happening? I'm having a stroke. So I ended up actually making it home and going to hospital because it just wouldn't, because I was panicking, it wouldn't, it was just staying there. So, eventually after a few tests and doctors trying to work out how I was having a stroke at 20, they said, oh, you're having a panic attack. And I was like, what the hell is that? And apparently it's because I was shallow breathing because I was feeling anxious or worried about the situation. And because you're not getting enough oxygen to your lungs, which, the reason being that you're oxygenating your organs in your body, one side of your body shuts down so that you, instead of wasting the little oxygen that you're taking in, it goes to your vital organs, which is actually quite incredible. I mean, it was really scary at the time, but it's quite incredible to think that your body is that aware of what you need. So really, that gave me quite an insight into breathing. So anytime that I felt panic or I'm having a panic attack, I had to very much breathe very slowly and very deeply to make sure that my entire body was, getting the oxygen that it needed. So, that's just one example of where I was quite aware of breathing. But then I think it was kind of later down the line when I started sort of getting more into mindfulness and meditation that I kind of really started to understand the benefits of breathing. And there's so many benefits that I've put on, my sort of Instagram posts in terms of lowering your blood pressure, lowering cortisol levels, which cause stress, like improving your immunity, because obviously you're as well as breathing in your oxygen, you're detoxifying. When you breathe out, you're getting rid of the carbon dioxide, and basically anything that your body doesn't need is being expelled. So yeah, there's loads of health benefits, and it just calms you down. So it kind of, by deep, slow breathing, you're sending a signal to your brain that you're calm and safe. Whereas if you're shallow, anxious breathing, your brain thinks you're under attack, or it's that fight or flight mode that you go into, and that's when it triggers the different, the cortisol and the different problems that can build up then to the high blood pressure and problems with your heart. So it's something that you need to be aware of, even though it just happens naturally every day. So I think with yoga as well, I've really learned to control my breathing. So what I love about the yoga itself is sort of described as a movement meditation. So, each movement you perform with your breath, and that's the most important thing. So any teacher will say, just concentrate on your breath, and that's your main focus, and the poses will take care of themselves in a way. As long as you're breathing into each position, then you're doing yoga. So it doesn't matter, like I said before, how bendy you are or flexible. Just by moving and breathing, you're doing so much good for your body. And I love sort of when you're in poses and maybe your body you can start to panic if you're in a position that your body isn't used to. Not panic in a severe way, but your body goes into a slight amount of stress. And the teachers will say, breathe into that area of tension. And you can almost breathe yourself to be calm and actually ease into a position. So it's quite amazing. And then outside of yoga, within yoga there's Ujjayi breath, which I really love. It was something that just pulled it all together for me in terms of yoga and movement. It's where you breathe in through your nose and then you breathe out through your nose and you constrict the back of your throat. And it's called, another word for it is oceanic breath. So it sounds a bit like Darth Vader when you're breathing out. So it's like, but when you're doing that type of breath, you're holding your core muscles in a different way to just normally breathing. So you give yourself a kind of core strength throughout the practice by breathing this Ujjayi breath, which is in through your nose and out through your nose with a constricted throat. And yeah, it's something that I just absolutely love because it helped me. So your bandhas, which are obviously your again, if you're new to yoga, you'll hear your teachers talking about your bandhas, which is, clenching your pelvic floor and zipping up your stomach muscles. So holding your bandhas throughout your practice to, culminate that strength. And it really helps with that. So there's, breathing actually improves your yoga practice and keeps you stronger. And then, outside of yoga, there's lots of different breathing techniques. You can try this box breath, alternate nostril breathing. So it's something that we'll do in our breathwork sessions at the Humble Warrior virtual retreats until we can do live retreats. But it is something that it's worth taking time out of your day to do some breathing because your lungs are like a muscle as well. So by strengthening that muscle, you're keeping yourself healthier and more resistant to viruses, so illnesses in general. Before COVID, it would have just made you a bit more resistant to flus and colds. I'm not saying it's going to help against COVID because that's a different kettle of fish, but by you're keeping yourself stronger and your body stronger to fight off your immunity is higher. So I think that's a general overview of why breath work is so important, and it's something that I really focus on and we will be focusing on going forward. Another amazing resource which I just have to share because I've discovered it in the last lockdowns and in this one, and it's something that I now I can't get out of bed without it. So there's BreathPod on Instagram, so it's @BreathPod, and it's Stuart Sandyman who holds live sessions every morning at 7:30. So it's just a breathing session, meditation, gratitude. He does different things. There's a different theme each week. At the moment, it's I can't remember what it is at the moment. I've literally just done it. Anyway, it's brilliant. I would highly recommend set your alarm for 7:30. It's what I do. And I'll do it in bed. So I'm part of the Bed Pod crew. There's two factions. There's about 700 people that do it, and everyone comments, shares. It's a lot. It's also again another nice little community in the morning. Everyone kind of shares their anything good that's happened to them or what they're looking forward to in the day. So I would highly recommend that as a resource just to start you off on a breathing process. It's half an hour in the morning. And anything we do at the Humble Warrior will start after that because I must have my morning breath pod. So I think if that sounds interesting, then please just keep following us and we will be giving you more tips and doing some actual breathing sessions with you. So thank you very much.